You're watching Chicago Bears Now. I am Harrison Graham. Day 2 of NFL free agency is here, so let's get you caught up on the latest free agency rumors around the Chicago Bears. Story number 1. Could the Bears trade for Laviska Shenault of the Jacksonville Jaguars? Jacksonville literally shelved out over $200 million worth of contracts on day 1 of free agency, including a couple of receivers in Christian Kirk and Zay Jones. Report out there that the Jags could be shopping Shenault now that they have shelved out a bunch of money for a lot of these other players. Unclear what his role would be in their offense moving forward. I like Laviska Shenault. In 2 seasons, he's been pretty decently productive. 121 catches, over 1,200 yards, 5 touchdowns, about 10 yards per catch. I think you could use him a little bit out of your backfield as well. He did a lot of those things at Colorado. Still has 2 years left on his rookie contract. Now, the Bears have 3 top 71 picks, 2 seconds and a third, no fourth. I'm not trading a day 2 pick for Shenault. I'd throw a 5th at him, though, maybe even a 5th and a future 6th or something like that to bring him into Chicago. Now, obviously, the Bears don't have a ton of draft capital this year. You don't want to be just throwing away picks, but think of it this way. Are you more likely to get a decent level of contributor in the 5th round or out of Laviska Shenault? Probably out of Laviska Shenault. If he can come in here, give you 500 to 700 yards receiving, use him as a gadget guy from time to time as well, that's not bad value as a guy who could probably be like your number 3 receiver that can also do some other things. So I would trade a 5th for Shenault. What would you trade for him? Would you offer more? Would you offer that number 71 overall pick in the 3rd round? I probably would not unless the Jags are also sending a pick back. Maybe if they sent a 4th back, I would consider it. Let me know what you guys think. How much would you offer for Shenault? And feel free to send in your trade ideas. Now, Bears Now is now on Rumble, and I got to be honest with you guys. I'm a little embarrassed because only 2 channels at Chat Sports have less followers than we do on Rumble. So we got to catch up to some of these other channels. The Raiders Report is the closest one to us, and they got over 240. We're all the way down at 98 followers. Help us out. More exclusive content on Rumble. Unfiltered content, by the way. Rumble.com/Bears. Now, we can't be coming in last. That is just not an option. Let's catch up to the Raiders Report and some of our other channels at Chat Sports, and you can find more of our videos on the Rumble app. Okay, let's get to our next story here. JuJu Smith-Schuster. Is that where the Bears will turn their focus to in the free agent wide receiver market? Well, I think it's possible because DJ Chark is heading to Detroit on a 1-year, $10 to $12 million deal. I think a $10 million base and then up to $12 million in incentives is what that is coming out to be. You look at this receiver depth chart. We talked about Shenault. Now we talk about JuJu. Allen Robinson's still out there. We'll see what ends up happening with him. Obviously, Goodwin and Bird have not signed. Neither has Jakeem Grant. But you've got to get at least one receiver, I think, in free agency, and then probably draft another one as well. JuJu's probably the top receiver on the open market right now, based on how things have played out over the past, 20, 24 hours. Another side note here, right before I started to film this, the Packers tendered Allen Lazard for a 2nd-round pick. So if the Bears or any other team want him, it's going to cost a 2nd-round pick. Bears ain't trading a 2nd-round pick for Allen Lazard. I will tell you that right now. Now, you look at JuJu through his 5 seasons in his career. 2018 was his best year by far with over 1,400 yards, but he has 3 seasons of over 830 yards. That's pretty good. Last year got hurt, didn't play much. 2019 had a down year as well. But remember, as his numbers have kind of gone down, Ben Roethlisberger's play has fallen off a cliff. So I think you have to factor that in as well. He's not a number 1, but I think he's a decent number 2 receiver. For the right price, I would sign JuJu Smith-Schuster. Now, what would you rather do? Would you rather trade for Laviska Shenault or would you rather sign JuJu Smith-Schuster? Type JJ if you'd rather just sign JuJu. Type LS if you would rather trade for Laviska Shenault. Maybe you want to do both. If you want to do both, type B down in the comments. Now, NFL free agency, it's heating up. It's getting hot. It's on fire. That's why you should subscribe to us here at Chicago Bears Now. We are less than 300 subs away from 44,000. We're growing like crazy over the past couple of weeks. A lot of breaking news items that we've broken down with Khalil Mack getting traded. The release of Eddie Goldman, Tariq Cohen, the signing of Larry Ogunjobi, and of course the latest free agency news and rumors as well. Subscribe. Don't miss any of our videos. Turn on that notification bell also. Okay, let's get to story number 3. How about pairing Myles Jack with Roquan Smith at the linebacker position? This is, of course, possible now because Jack was released by the Jaguars on Tuesday. Listen, I love this idea. Jack's been a really good pro since coming out of UCLA. His plays maybe dipped a tick so far, over the last year or so, but he still led the Jags in tackles last year. And when you look at this linebacker spot for Chicago, obviously Roquan's a superstar. I think he's going to play that will linebacker spot. You could bring in Jack, who's kind of been, he's played some will as well, so maybe Roquan would slide to middle in this case. We'd have to see how that would play out at the end of the day. But I do think you need a second quality linebacker next to Roquan Smith, and Jack would certainly fill that. I think that would be a great combination. I'll be curious to see what his market ends up being. He obviously had knee issues coming out of college, so maybe teams are wary of that now that he is 5 years into his career. Could you get him for like $6 million? Like 1 year, $6 million? Is that possible? Is he going to want like $10 million? I don't know. I think if the price is right, it's possible, but I do think the Bears will save some money for the offensive side of the ball as well. Should the Bears sign Myles Jack? Type S for sign him, type P for pass. Again, if the money lines up, I would certainly not be closed to this idea. All right, last idea, last rumor floating around there. How about targeting Tyrann Mathieu in free agency? Well, the Chiefs aren't bringing him back, so he's going to be playing on a different team after Kansas City signed Justin Reed to a 3-year, $31.5 million contract late on Monday night. That signals the exit of Tyrann Mathieu. Obviously, he's got the connection to Ryan Poles, the Bears' new GM. Mathieu's still a good player. He was still good last year. He wasn't as good as he was the 2 years prior, but you're talking about a guy that's still only 29 years old. Tyrann Mathieu is still a really, really good player. But I will throw in this caveat. Quandre Diggs got 3 years and $40 million. Now, I'm not saying Mathieu will get that, but he's going to get over $10 million a year, I bet. And quite frankly, if I'm the Bears, I'm not overpaying for a safety. You've got bigger issues. You've got bigger fish to fry. Offensive line, receiver. You could use more defensive line help. You need another linebacker. I would like Honey Badger. If his market isn't that great and you can get him on a cheapish 1-year deal and he can re-hit the market, maybe. But I'm definitely not going to overpay for a player like Tyrann Mathieu in free agency. But I do like him. He's an emotional leader. He would definitely help this defense, but I just want to allocate more resources to the offensive side of the ball if I am Chicago. Will the Bears sign a player today? They signed one yesterday. Let's see if they sign another one. And by the way, everyone's freaking out while you give me a Y for yes or N for no. This is what Ryan Poles told us he was going to do, attack the second and third waves of free agency. You could argue that we're maybe already into the second wave here on day 2 with the amount of signings that happened yesterday. So stay tuned, buckle up like some good disciples have said in the past, and some moves will happen. But if you think the Bears will sign a player today, type Y for yes. If you don't, type N for no. Appreciate you guys tuning in here on Tuesday morning. We'll probably have a video later today to keep you guys up to date with the latest news and rumors. Obviously, if the Bears sign somebody, we'll have that covered as well. Be sure to give me a follow on Instagram for more Bears updates. It's at HGramNFL. You can follow me right there. We'll see you soon here on Bears Now.